Hey guys, good evening. Happy New Year to everyone whosoever is present in the chat today. A warm welcome to one and all. So we are joining again in the new year. So again, a very happy New Year to everyone whosoever is present in our chat today. So when we left last, we were solving some lead code problems on Python, right? And we did solve some good question there. So here also we'll be doing some another lead code problems. So in fact, uh, for the next couple of days itself, we'll be doing the lead code problem. So this week I'm going to dedicate to the problems. So let's practice Python a bit. Okay, let's practice the questions we have from lead code in our playlist for advanced Python scripting. So let's do that. Let's solve some problems. And in fact, we had a suggestion to go for the contest problems also, right? So I'm going to start the context maybe a week after this. Okay, so let's practice at least 4 or 5 more days on the problem statements. Let's do that. And then let's jump to the contests. Okay, so we'll do that. Okay. Again, warm welcome to everyone. Good evening and happy new year. So whosoever has joined today. So we're gonna start with the lead code problems as discussed, right? So we have a question from Piyush. He says, "Bhaiya, dono done my Python basic. Is this session best for to start DSA in Python? And if then, please take easy level also." ठीक है, Piyush. So in fact, what we have done is we are planning to start with, we're actually doing the easy as well as the medium level questions. Okay, so we are not touching the hard level questions right now because those will create some problems. Okay, so those will create some issues while understanding the problem statement, right? So I'm not gonna jump directly to the hard level question. So we're gonna stick to the easy and the medium ones. So not only easy, but yeah. So I'm not skipping easy ones. Okay, so I'm taking both the easy and the medium level questions. Right, so that's about it. Yeah, Santosh, yes, absolutely. So we are discussing about data science. Yeah, we are doing that. So in fact, I have another playlist which is ongoing for data science. So we have finished 2 topics there. So we have finished visualization and then we have finished NLP. Okay, so we have finished natural language processing. So there we discuss about the natural language toolkit which we have. So we discuss about that. In fact, I have a plan to introduce Spacey as well. So if you have heard about Spacey, another very good library available under data science for our NLP techniques. So I have a plan to introduce Spacey next week. So please stay tuned. So this week gonna be Python scripting. So this week we're gonna solve some competitive programming questions on Leetcode. And the next week, like 3 4 days, we're gonna do Spacey. So we're gonna introduce Spacey. Absolutely, Swapnil, we can do deep learning as well, but let's start step by step, right? So in fact, NLP is one of the deep learning techniques only, right? So, but I understand what you mean by deep learning here. So basically, towards neural networks, I mean some dense architecture and all that, right? So we'll do that. PySpark, Santosh, yes, why not? So earlier we had an objective to start PySpark also. Let's see. So we can do that. But again, since we are doing multiple playlists, right? So we are doing Python scripting, we are doing data science as well as SQL, right? So let at least one of these three finish, you know. So I'm expecting things to be finished. So uh, let's then move towards Spark to there. Yeah, Dhruv. So yes, let's do that. So let's focus on now the lead code problems. We'll do that. Okay, so a couple of more questions, Shubham for cloud. Yeah, cloud. ठीक है. So cloud यार देखो basics है. I mean it depends. There are three major clouds here: AWS, Azure, and GCP, right? Three major clouds provider. So you can at least for now you can focus if you're learning, right? So you can just do some basic level learning anywhere available on Google, right? So that should be fine to start with. So just Google it, right? So just the basics of cloud architecture, basics of cloud and all that. So you'll find multiple blogs. So there is no fixed thing which you should be following. I mean, I don't really follow that. So if you're up to online learning, which you're anyway doing right now along with me, right? So just Google it, right? So you'll figure out a lot of blogs to start with, and then eventually, in fact, I have a plan to start with AWS, but at least not for next couple of months. But I have it in my long-term goal, so we'll be doing AWS as well. Cool. Coming back, guys, quickly. So let me just start, right? So, as always, we're gonna have a quick round of introduction. So please bear with this. So my name is Arpit Jain, and I'm a senior data scientist myself. I have almost 9 years of industry experience in multiple domains. So I've been part of a banking sector, manufacturing, automobile, telecommunication. Along with that, I'm also a motivational speaker. So I take up industry sessions, I talk to students, I take career guidance, I do talk to students regarding their placements and also if any questions regarding their career, job, data science and all that. So do put up your question in the chat so we can take that accordingly as it comes. As part of our subjects for now, we are going with 3 different playlists. So we have Python, SQL, and data science. So Python is basically advanced Python scripting. We are doing that, right? So we are already doing that. So we have covered some good things there, and now we are solving some questions, competitive programming questions from Leetcode, HackerRank, and all that, right? So we are solving some problems. So the plan is to finish at least 4 or 5 more days to the practice problems that anyway will be ongoing, right? So will not be stopping there. But post that, we're gonna switch to contest problems, right? So we'll be doing some contest problems. So that's the plan. SQL, we have finished the concepts, right? We have finished the concepts. Again, we are doing some problems. We saw some ad hoc databases, and also we are solving the competitive programming questions for your interviews, for your placements, and all that. That is from Leetcode and HackerRank again, right? So we are doing some practice problems again. We can do some more advanced level questions. So, but again, that is towards the weekend. So that is still ongoing, guys. So SQL is always towards the weekends. So Saturdays and Sundays are SQL classes, right? Data science is again running parallelly along with Python. So data science itself is data science clubbed with Python. So we are doing some things in data science. We finished 2 topics till date. So we have finished visualization on Seaborn, Matplotlib, and then we have finished NLP using NLTK. So right now the plan is to introduce Spacey next week. So I'm introducing Spacey another because that is relevant to NLP, right? So Spacey is again a very advanced high-level API available for your NLP work. So I'm going to introduce Spacey to you next week. So we're going to be doing that. But again, any suggestions? So I have one suggestion from deep learning. We can do that. So, but that is again going to be coming post sometime, right? So we can do that. Time for a quick promotion, guys. Please bear with me for this. You have a code right in front of your screen right now. On the right hand side, you can see Python 10, right? So with the code Python 10, you can get a bonus Relevel free sample test paper, right? So what is Relevel? So again, many times candidates do miss out on the great opportunities due to multiple reasons. And those could be like they don't have a better degree. By that I mean not having a degree from a tier A universities, or they might be having poor networking. So they don't know the right set of people to ask for referrals, right? So those could be one of the potential reasons for not getting the good jobs. Also, the resumes with which the candidates are applying is not really standing out from the crowd because there are at least 100 other applicants for the same job, right? So there might be some issue with your resume, some keywords missing, or totally things which is beyond your control, right? So it could be anything. And also, I mean, you have applied to a number of jobs, but still you're not getting even a single call for your interview, right? Very practical problem. And trust me, like every other person faces this. If you're facing it, you're not the only person. So every other person faces this. So if you're not getting a single call, these are the very tactical problems due to which we do miss out on the great opportunities, right? And to tackle these issues only, Relevel has been introduced, which is India's first test hiring platform by Unacademy, which is helping you to get your dream job, right? So here, basically, you are purely dependent on your skills and talent, right? So there is nothing, any sort of dependency on degree or people networking of sort, right? So if you're skilled enough, if you're knowledgeable enough, you should be getting your job. So how does it work, guys? It's more of a testing platform, as I said. So you'll be asked to go through an assessment. I mean, depending on your area of interest, obviously, right? And then once you have given the test, the only thing which you expected out of it to get the best score out of this test, right? And depending on your score, the companies will reach out to you. So the Relevel has some internal tie-ups with the companies. So your score will be shared with these companies, and based on your score, you will be approached by the companies. So it's like a more of a vice versa thing. You have to just give the test. That's it, right? So that's how it works. Very simple. So there are certain other benefits also involved if you participate in the Relevel testing platform, guys. That involves like at least 50 plus companies, including the top startups and the unicorns. They are hiring directly from the Relevel platform, right? And Those include ENY, Upgrad, Cred, Razorpay, Urban Company, and many more. So there they have the tie-ups with the Relevel platform. Also, at least 1,000 plus open job positions right now across 3 different portfolios: business development, front end, and the back end development. So multiple sub roles also available within these, right? This is completely online, guys. So you can take this from the comfort of your home. So you're not supposed to be physically present anywhere to be part of this test. So you can take this from the comfort of your home. And also, this is completely free, guys. The best part is this is completely free. You're not paying even a single penny to be part of this test, right? So you can take this for free. The only expectation is you have to finish the entire test in a single day, okay? And that day could be of your choice. And then the Relevel score will be revealed in a week's time, right? And as I said, since it's an assessment, so basically you will be scored on some qualifying criteria. So there is at least 70% of qualifying criteria. So you have to score at least 70% to make your Relevel profile. But in any unfortunate situation, if you're not able to make your 70% score, you can always reattempt the test, but that can happen only after 30 days. Okay, so be watchful of that. Again, if you're one of the top scorers in any particular category, right? So you can always be awarded with some exciting goodies like a MacBook, iPhone, and all that. So the highest scorers always get rewarded every month. Okay. So with this Relevel, you are in a unique position, guys, to invite interest from the companies instead of you hunting for your own opportunities, right? So it's more of like once you have given the test, sit back and relax. The companies will reach out to you. Right? So it's that simple. So registration is also quite easy, guys. So you have the link there in the YouTube description. So please go through that. And once you have selected the link, so the very first thing would be asked from you to choose a test of your choice. So there are 3 tests right now. So as I said, 3 portfolios: business development, front end, and the back end development. Multiple sub roles like sales associate, customer engagement associate in business development, front end Angular developer in front end, backend developer, data engineer, and all that for the backend, right? So multiple sub roles. Depending on your area of interest and skills, you can choose the test of your choice. The next is date, right? So slots are limited. So I would request you to book it fast, right? So do book your slots. So once you have selected the test date, the last would be to fill up your demographics, like the full name, email ID, birth year, current state, along with your gender. And then at the last, you have an option of a promo code. So here you can apply the code Python 10. So if you're going to use the code Python 10, you're going to get a free bonus sample test paper. Okay, so don't forget to use the code Python 10 here. So if you use the code Python 10, that's how the dashboard should look like. So you have a practice tab, right? So where you can see an option of a sample paper, where you can download this paper and just practice it before your actual test. So the question sets are almost a replica of what you can expect in the real examination, right? So do not forget to use the code Python 10, guys, so to unlock this sample paper. Right, so do register for the platform today, guys. At least I've said so. It's anyway free of cost, right? So you're not paying even a single penny to be part of this test. So there's no harm in this. At least try it for once if you feel, if you're looking for a job, right? So if you feel that you're not getting benefited post this, you can always take your decisions elsewhere later, right? Well, at least try it for once, right? Because it's anyway free of cost. So please do try it for once, guys. And also along with that, we have an official Telegram channel. I've recommended that. So please do join this channel. Again, the link is there in the YouTube description. So if you join this channel, that's a one place stop for you for all of your upcoming schedules and classes and all that. So you will not be running around here and there for everything. So at last, I would say that if you feel that you're getting benefited, do like and share the video. That's the least we can expect from you. So with this, we are into our content slide. So we're talking about the Leetcode problems. So I'm going to jump to the Leetcode problems, but before that, we have a couple of questions. Let's take that. So Gaurav is saying, sorry to ask off topic question. Is SQL over? Are you going to take some more problems? No, yeah, Gaurav, SQL is not over. We'll be doing SQL over the weekends. So that is not over. We'll be doing some problems at least for maybe a couple of more weeks. So we're going to do that. So don't worry about that. Swapnil, is next 10 years data science increase? Yeah, obviously, yeah. So it's on boom anyway. So now companies are realizing the importance of data. So I mean, it's more of an insurance for you for next 10 years. So don't worry about that. Santosh, how to sort elements in list without changing index of list? I mean, you mean in Python? So how to sort elements in list without changing index of list? without changing index values. You can always say, I mean, if you're talking about Python or any else, so I can give you the algorithm here. So you can always save the index in some other variable and then sort the elements and then assign the elements again, assign the same index to it, right? So maybe convert into series and then do it. So there are multiple ways, 2-3 ways I can think of. So whatever suits you. Vinay, sir, is Python good for computer programming? Yes, absolutely. Yeah, why not? So it depends on what role you're getting into. So if you're development, there is a Python development also, right? So if you're into Python development, then yes, why not? So competitive programming, Python is very important in that case. So totally dependent on the role which you're getting into. If you're going into Java development or a backend development, then no, maybe, right? But if it's Python development or application development, Python or data science developer, right? So then in that case, Python becomes your very important thing. Cool. Great, guys. Let me jump to 1 minute. Leetcode quickly. Let's not waste time. Right. I hope my screen is visible. Right. So Leetcode. Let's open Leetcode and let's see where we are. So I think we solved 3 to 4 problems on Python, right? So before we wrapped up our session. So let me just quickly open that. I don't remember what all questions we solved. Anybody remember what was the last question we solved on Leetcode? I think it was something on string, if I'm not wrong. Let me just open that. I think we solved this problem, is it? So longest substring without repeating characters. I think this was the problem which we solved last. Anybody remember that? If I'm not wrong, this was the problem which we solved last. Let me open that and see if that is the one we solved it. I did not submit it, if I'm not wrong, yeah. So yes, I think this is the one we solved it last. So I did not submit the problem. I just ran it. Yeah, so I think we skipped the hard problem for now, and then let's take this problem, longest palindromic substring. So let's take that. I think this is the one which we are supposed to solve. I don't know why this is getting stuck. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So I think this is what we have to solve. Cool. Let's do that. Great. So we have a question right in front of us, guys. I hope I'm pretty much audible and visible. I hope there is no network lag and all that. So do let me know if there is any network lag of that sort. So looks like a good connection this time. So I'm not running on a bad connection. So it looks things good. Cool. Let's start solving. So as always, as I've always mentioned, so whenever you are in a practice phase, so always have a habit to write your 2-3 things before starting the problem, and do not jump into writing the codes directly. Always, okay. So always have a lingual algorithmic approach. So always try to think about your problem. Always try to write down some steps. Okay. So what you will be doing, right? So just think about your problem first, write down some 2-3 steps, and then try to code on top of it, right? So that things will become easier. You'll have a direction how to proceed and all that. So that's what I always follow, right? So I'm gonna do that. So input, outputs, constraints. So as I will always explain, for any of your competitive programming, right? So for any of your real-time programming exercises, constraints are very important, right? So many a times there are some constraints which you might miss out, but these are important for your edge conditions, right? So even if your logic is fine, if your constraints are not taken care of, your answer, your submission will not be accepted, right? So always be watchful of your constraints. It's very important. So at last, we're gonna write some flow. So basically your algorithm here, okay? So basically your approach towards your problem. So we'll be writing that. Cool. So let's look at the problem statement. It says, given a string S, return the longest palindromic substring in S. Okay. Cool. So input is string S. Okay, and then I'm going to return longest palindromic substring. So this substring has to be part of S. Okay, so always remember this. This substring will be the part of S. We're going to see that. Okay, so that's the only thing, right? So okay, we have certain constraints. So length of S should be greater than 1 and less than 1000. Okay, so that's fine. So I'm going to just keep it like this. And S consists of only digits and English letters. Okay, S is only digits and letters. Okay, cool. We're gonna see that. So now the example says I have the input BABAD. So the output is BAB. Okay, so right. So I have BAB here, and also ABA could be right because again it's a palindrome, right? So BAB front and the back both are fines, and even ABA is an answer, but BAB I think happens first, so that is the reason why it is giving me BAB, right? So that's fine. And again for this CBBD, so I have BB. So basically B and B are the palindromic sequence, right? So yeah, true. Cool. That's fine. So it doesn't look like any issue to me. Any issue in understanding the problem, guys, is actually a very simple problem. Doesn't look like a major issue to me here, right? So now here, what all you are thinking of? So I can just break down my problem in more of a lingual sentences. First, anyhow, I have to find the palindrome, right? So I have to find the palindrome from my S. So for that, what I have to do is I have to iterate over my S, right? So character wise. So basically, I want to find out each characters, right, over my S, and then from that I have to find out whether that so the group of characters is a palindromic sequence or not. You're getting it? This is where I have to find out. So iterate over S, my first approach. So definitely I have to iterate over S for sure, because I have to. That is how I'm gonna get each of the characters, right? And then find the palindrome. So this is where the logic would come, correct? So this is my logic. So this is the logic where logic have to be written, where I'm gonna find the palindrome. So for this, I have to what I can think of, I have to make some 2-3 sequences, right? And then some equality would be there, right? So basically, what I can think of is I can make some combinations and compare. So that's what I'm thinking of, right? So I'm going to make some combinations from different indexes, right? So combinations definitely will be from indexes. So basically, the combination will be from indexes, correct? And then I'm going to compare 2-3 combinations that where this is, and then the logic of maximum length. So it will be part of my same thing. Okay, so here it will be part of my this palindromic sequence only, right? So maximum length of substring, I have to always make sure this is also been taken care of. Maximum length I have to given, right? So longest palindromic subsequence, I have to also check this condition. Maximum has to be satisfied, and then at last return the subsequence substring. Cool. Anybody has any question in understanding the question this problem statement, guys? Again, I'm telling you this, do not directly jump into writing the codes, okay? Always try to think about the problem. If you're able to think the problem, the question is actually very easy, right? If you're not able to think about a problem, I mean, you can just go in any direction, then you might get lost in the between. If you get some issue, right, you might get lost. Always try to think about an approach. Again, I'm telling you, no approach is wrong. This is how I am thinking of it right now, okay? So there might be some other approach. There might be something else which you might be thinking of, right? And if you're able to achieve the answer with your approach, then your approach is not wrong. So do not worry about the approach, okay? So no approach is wrong. It's only about how optimized your approach is. And I've always said optimization is out of scope for competitive programming. It only matters when you're in your business, when you are doing your job, okay? And then you have some millions of records to take care of. You have time constraint and all that, right? So then the optimization comes. Optimization is out of scope for competitive programming. Okay, so do not worry about optimization. So always think of your responses. Always think of whether you are able to get through the answer or not. Okay, so that should be your approach. Again, so this is how I am thinking of. Let's try to just copy the same thing in our solution. Okay, so I have just written the same thing. So I have just written the same thing here, and then let's try to convert the same thing into the logic here. Just convert the same thing into my codes. Okay, so we're going to do that. Swapnil says, can we use binary search algorithm here? Yeah, we can. In fact, yeah, so there is some modification which you have to do on top of binary search, because it will not directly give you a substring and the maximum of substring, right? So yeah, but definitely if you are able to think through binary search on top of the solution, yes, why not? As I've said, so no approach is wrong, right? So no approach is wrong, but think whether that solution, because binary search by default will not fit in here, yeah, but with some modification, I can think of the modification also that might fit in, right? So you have to think about the problem, and then yes, so no approach is wrong. If you're able to get the solution with this approach, why not? You can take that approach also, so it's no problem in that. Cool. So till now, I think things are pretty much even. So we have our first thing. So we have to compare my basically my individual sequences and then find out how exactly things are landing up, right? Cool. So iterate over S आप कैसे करते हो? Simple command क्या है? For अभी iterate क्या करना है? For my sequence of S. So S क्या है मेरा? String. So S is a string, right? So basically there are number of characters. There are certain characters available in this, right? So how we can iterate over this? So we can just simply write for say char, or say write simply for I in say S, right? So length of S. So basically for all entire length of S, I'm going to iterate over. So definitely for this is going to be on top of my range. So range would be what? My length of S. So I'm going to run the loop till my till my string stands, right? So that is going to be my length. Cool. So that's going to be my iteration. So this part is done. So I'm going to just remove this. Okay. So my bad. Cool. So this part is done. So now what next? So how are we're gonna find out something, right? So we have something to take care of. So how we can so now I have to compare, right? So basically this is my first sequence. This is where I'll be getting first values. But again, think of this. So I have to compare the values. So basically there'll be two substrings, right? So where I'm going to just compare if this is equal to this is a palindrome, and then if the length of this is greater than the other one, is going to be the highest substring, right? So basically there is some other substring also somewhere involved, right? So I can just think of this logic. So if I can make two different substrings, right, and then compare from this, I can do that, right? So definitely that is also I'm just thinking of that way. So I'm going to do another loop on top of this. So for this I'm going to use J. So I'm going to use another substring on top of this. For J in, again the range of, now here what will be my range? So here the range is, so I'm going to talk about my palindromic sequence, right? So again, first of all you have to think, I'm going to take the word in the reverse order, right? So basically the sequence would be coming in the reverse order, right? So the reverse order, so if I'm going from start to end from my first word, I have to come from end to start, right? So from end to start for my second word to compare the two words, right? And again, so here the range would be, if I, so my first sequence would be what? I'm going to definitely write the length of S. That's where I have to start my sequence at, right? And till when? So I have to finish my sequence where this I stops, because that is where my word will be ending, right? I hope you're getting my point. So here I think the start, this would be I, and I'm going to do it from reverse order. So going to be -1. This logic makes sense to everyone. So for the first word, I'm starting from the beginning. Okay, so from 0 to my length of S. And for the second word, I'm starting in the reverse order. Okay, and I'm ending the range where my I is starting. So that's my end point for the reverse word. and I'm doing in the -1 order. So basically start in the reverse order basically. Cool. The step is -1 basically. Cool. Making sense? Simple. Again, I've just bifurcated two things. So here what I'm doing is with this, I'll be somehow getting the indexes of my first word. Okay. And in here I'll be getting indexes of my second word. Cool. And based on this, I'll be actually comparing I'll be making the combinations and compare the words for my palindrome. Okay, so that's what I'm trying to do here. Guys, any confusion, do let me know. Cool, I've just done the very basic thing, guys. Nothing very fancy here actually. So now, okay, so now what exactly we have to do here? So we have to just compare, right? So how you can actually compare? So now here, what we can do is maybe we can initialize. Okay, so we have some logic here. Let me just remove this. So find the palindromic sequence logic. So I'm going to remove this. And now on top of this, here, this is where I have to write my logic. Cool. So, okay, so how we can compare the logic? So basically, if my substring is S, okay, and then I'm gonna substring the S from where to where? From I to J. Okay, so I'm gonna substring the string from I to J. So basically, this is my starting index, and my end index is J. So because that is where I'll be. I mean, that's the second starting index from my second word, right? So that's how I'll be comparing the words here. If this is equal to my S of I comma J, and the reverse is what? Colon -1. You know this. So how are you gonna reverse? How are you gonna reverse this? Reverse the strings. This is how you're gonna reverse the strings, right? So S of I of J is equal to colon -1. I'm gonna just reverse that string. Make sense to you guys? Anybody has any issue in this? So if this is true, where I'm gonna say I'm gonna basically return I'm gonna what I can do return okay, so here will be like if. Okay, so I forgot to write the if condition. So if this is true, okay, so where I'm gonna break the sequence and then I'm gonna return. Okay, so I'm gonna write say temp equal to this. Okay, so I'm gonna assign this to temp and then return temp. Making sense, guys? I think this might take some time because the list on strings it can take some time, so we can still optimize it. Again, I said optimization is out of scope, but I think let's see how much time it takes. Let's run the code and let's find out. So how much time does it take? If still it says some error, we can still do some things on top of it. So I'm just thinking of. Okay, so wrong answer. Okay, so let's see where exactly we went wrong. So here B A D, so we have D and the expector is B. Okay, so I think our length is okay, line number 25 something says. Okay, so basically I'm saying that if the word from the sequence from the indexes I to J on the front side is equal to the reverse of the word. So basically colon -1 is like reversing of your string. So it's a very basic concept of reversing of your string. So if your forward word is equal to my reverse word, that's what I'm defining the set context here. And I think I did not see again look at this. So I missed out the concept of this longest palindromic, right? So I did not incorporate this longest logic. Okay. So I think that is something which is missing. So what we can do is, so maybe we can define temporary, say, a palindrome here. Okay, so I just like a palindrome sequence. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep on assigning all of these sequences. It'll going to break wherever this will be true, right? But I have to keep on storing this value so that I can compare it where exactly the value is the highest, right? So I hope you're getting the error. So error is it is able to identify the palindromic sequence, but again, D is again a palindrome, right? D forward single letter is again a palindromic sequence only. But again, I have to make sure that this does not break out. So I have to keep on storing this somehow, and then I have to compare the palindromic sequence basically. So I have to generate all the palindromic sequences. Cool. So what I can do is here, if for this, I can do is if another condition here, if my length of my palindrome, okay, if this length of my palindrome is anyway greater than my j minus 1, okay, so then in that case break. So because anyway the sequence won't exist in this case, right? So we don't want any of this logic to be correct, because if this is true, the logic does not exist. Even this equal to should be there. So j if length of palindrome is greater than or equal to j minus 1, break it out here. Else if this is true, I'm going to assign this palindrome to this and then return this palindrome. Cool guys, makes sense. I think this will solve the problem. So I have my string here, I'm storing the palindromic sequence, and then I'm going to compare with the maximum number. If j minus 1 does not exist, so I'm going to break it there, and then this. So I'm going to do this. Okay, yeah, so this is anyway my elif condition. So if this is true, and then if this is true, and then I'm going to say, yeah, cool, looks good to me. So let's run this code again. Okay, so what exactly the error is? Okay, let's figure out the issue here, guys. So somehow it is not able to identify this. It is able to see my actual values, right? So okay, so let's figure out this. I think I'm storing the values, that's fine. And then I'm comparing the sequences also, right? And then in fact for the next one I'm doing it comparing with the indexes also, that is fine. I think again somehow the logic is missing out for okay, so I think this is where the problem is. So okay, I think I need to keep on storing it somehow it is still picking out only the single character. Okay, so what else can I do? So I think I can what I can do. Yeah, let's take a very traditional approach. Why not? So let's take what can I do? So I think we can take a very traditional approach in this. That's actually fine. Yeah, so we can actually take one variable mid word and then we can try to store that also. Yeah, I'm just thinking of an approach here. Why this is wrong actually? Looks like a good approach to me. Okay, let's think of something else. So maybe we can think of some dynamic programming kind of approach, right? So we can do some dynamic programming kind of approach also here. So that is fine. Okay, let's do that. Yeah, actually it's a dynamic programming problem. So let's solve it through dynamic programming actually, right? So let's not do it this way. My bad. Let's do it some other way. Cool. So let's remove this part. Let's do that. Okay. So let's solve it some other way. I'm gonna again, I think the problem statement is anyway clear, right? So let's solve it some other way. So here in this case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to define, say, longest for now. Okay. So let's keep it simple and let's keep it through dynamic programming. Okay. So I have the sequence longest here, and then also I'm going to define, the length, right? So maybe a maximum of my length as 1 for now. So I'm going to initiate these two counters, and then I'm going to keep. So again, I always explain, right? So whenever there is any counter or whenever there is a string involved in terms of where we have to do some looping, right? So we can always initiate a blank string, or we can initiate some standard value as a counter to start with, right? So I'm going to just define two counters for now, okay? And also I'm going to initiate a variable which is basically a kind of a size for me, okay? So size will be what? So size will be define a length of my s. Cool. So this will be my size of my string, okay? So I have used the size. So basically this is what I'll be ranging it over, okay? So here I'm just initiating a dynamic pointer for me. So here it'll be what? So I'm gonna initiate the value. So I'm gonna be doing false, okay? So false cross size. So basically if this for and just initiate this fine for underscore in range of my size. So basically cool. So I've initiated here the pointer for me, right? This is gonna be my pointer, and then for this I'm gonna initiate my my sequences, right? So for start in, I'm gonna do that. So for start in, what will be the range here? So again, the range will be the same. So range here, size, basically my sequence, I'm gonna do size -1, right? Absolutely, Adnan Jasim, yes, absolutely correct. So we're gonna do the same approach. In fact, I'm just gonna replicate the same logic which you have just telling in the chat in terms of code. So it'll be -1 and then -1, right? So basically I'll be doing till the end and the reverse order. So this will be for my reverse word, so palindromic sequence, okay? So here in this case, for all of these word, I'm going to do dp of my start, okay, and then they start, and then it'll be again start. Cool. So in this case, I'll be saying this is true. Cool. This is fine. And then again, my next loop starts here, where I'll be saying for end in this case, the range would be size. Sorry, no, range would be what? So range here, I'll be starting from my start value, right? So here, start, where I'm starting +1, and I'll be ending till my size. So my final value, cool. And in this case, I'll be saying that if s of my individual start and end, so basically start is equal to s of end in this case, right? So if these two are true, right, and if, what is the next condition, guys? So end, what can I say? So if also if end minus start what's it, equal to 1, or dp of, in this case, start +1 and end -1, right? So start +1 and also of end -1 in this case, right? If these two, either of these two are true, I'm going to say that dp of my start or end, start and end, that will be true. Cool. Making sense? Totally making sense. So same logic. So again, in this case, if this is fine, then I'm going to check the maximum condition here. So if max of length, which I've defined 1 earlier, so we're going to say that if this is less than end minus start +1, right? So end minus start, yeah, +1. In this case, I think this is wrong. Start +1. So I'm gonna add up to the value. So I'm gonna say that max underscore length should be equal to, in this case, end minus start +1. Cool. So that is the fine. So basically my longest would become what? So longest would become, my longest subsequence would be longest of my S starting from start and then starting from end and then plus 1. Cool. So I just took the next approach and this should give me the answer. And then I'm going to return the longest for me. Cool, so looks good to me. So I've initiated the pointer here and then I have for start in this range, this is fine. So I have initiated the point here. For end is start plus 1, yeah, that's correct. So for start in this, so again I'm starting from the next character and then end would be so, and then this would be minus 1, yeah, correct. And then the dp of start plus 1 and end minus 1, that's correct. This spelling mistake, there should be 1. Okay, any should not be this. I've defined this. So this is great, this is great. Right, so and then end. Right, so all the ends are also being highlighted. So this looks good to me. Yeah, good. Let's run this code. Yeah, I mean, technically this is actually, yeah, so now this is fine. Yeah, sometimes I see the approaches matter, Adnan, right? So yeah, this was, I think I took it a bit lightly, to be honest. So I thought we can solve it in that way also. Yeah, but this was bit of a tricky question, so we cannot just miss, I missed that round. Yeah. But it's a good question. Yeah, I think you got it very rightly. So I think I missed it the previous time, and thank you for letting me know that we can solve it through DP actually. Yeah, thank you so much, Adnan, for letting me know that. Yeah. So, but again, I think the logic should be clear to you, right? So it depends. So again, I mean, again, it all depends of your thought process, right? So I was thinking in some other way earlier, and then that did not work out. So that's fine. That's totally fine, right? So as I've said, no approach is wrong, yeah, but the approach is wrong if you're not able to get the right answer, right? So that approach is wrong. So I think that my previous approach was wrong. So that's fine. So that's anyway. So that's okay. So I mean, if you can think about the problem again, so again, no approach is wrong, right? And again, thank you so much, Adnan, for letting me know that we can do it through the IP. Great. So any question, do let me know, guys, or else we can move to the next question. So this was a good question actually. But again, the logic is pretty simple. So the only thing is we have to keep on storing the lengths of my actual palindromic sequences, right? So I have to keep on iterating it over loop. So till the time it is generated all the palindromic sequences, and then from that I have to find out my lengths, right? So that was a trick here actually. Cool. So that's fine anyway. Cool. Great. So let's move to the next question. So we are into the problem. So we did this one, right? So this was a good question actually. So let's look at the next question, a zigzag conversion. Let me open that. I don't know why this is getting stuck. I'm gonna refresh the session, guys, just a minute. It's still loading up here. Actually, I don't know why this is not working up. Let me check the internet speed. I think speed should be fine. I don't know why this is not coming up. Am I not logged in here? Somehow the problem statement. Yeah, so now it came. Cool. Chal, let's start solving this problem. So again, as always, I'm gonna write inputs, outputs. I'm gonna write constraints, and I'm gonna write what? Flow. Cool. Great. Let's do that. I hope my screen is visible, guys. I hope I'm audible. So just hello or a hi in the chat, guys. So just do let me know if I'm audible properly. I was seeing some network lag from my side. I just sorted that out. So let me know if I'm audible properly. Great. Let's proceed. So I have the string this. So what is this? Pay. What is this? Pay palishing. Okay. I don't know what is that. Is written in a zigzag pattern. Okay. What is that? On a given number of rows like this. Okay. You may want to display this pattern in a fixed font for better legibility. I did not get that. What is it? So okay, so pay uh, pay PALISHIRING. Okay, I mean this looks like they have just separated the characters for better visibility. It seems, right? So it's more of the the visual thing. Okay, okay, fair enough. Great. So what is this? So and then read line by line. Okay, line by line. Okay, so this, so PAHN. Okay, so PAHN here, and then APLS. I don't know what does that mean. So this, and then YIR. Okay, what type of question is this? Write the code that'll take a string and make this conversion. Okay, given a number of rows. So basically, I have to do this. Okay, so I have to first convert into this, and then I have to make this word as an output if I've understood correctly. So now look at the input here. Okay, cool. So this input is this string, so pay, pali, shiring kind of a thing. So basically the number of rows is 3. Okay, so number of rows which I have to define 3 here. Okay, okay, that's gonna be my input basically. Okay, that's fair. And then PayPal is hiring. Oh, right. Okay, right. So now PayPal is hiring. Oh, my bad, yeah. I don't know what I was. Yeah, that is stupid. That is really stupid. Stupid. Okay, great. PayPal is hiring. Okay, I wish. PayPal. Okay, my bad, yeah. My bad, guys. Thank you so much, Sarthak. Okay, it's PayPal is hiring. Right. So I'm karna kya isko. I don't know why they want us to write it like this. Okay, so something I have to convert into 3 different rows. ठीक है, fair enough. So now if I use this input, PayPal is hiring as number of rows as 4. I'm gonna write okay. यार explanation पढ़ते हैं इसका, एक बार थोड़ा सा confusion हो रहा है मुझे. So here the thing is uh, P-A PayPal. Okay. Right. Okay, I got it now. So basically, it's more of like this, guys. So I have to first fill up my rows, so columns, so PAY, and then in the zigzag fashion, so PA, and then ALI, and then SH, then IRING. I got it. So more of a zigzag pattern. So like this. I got it. I got it. Okay. Cool. Fair enough. We can do that. We can do that. So now here, look at this. So first, the 4 rows will be filled up with the 4 characters. So P like PAYP till this, and then PALI for the next 4 characters in the diagonal sequence. Okay, and then the columns, then the diagonal sequence, then the remaining characters like that. Okay, makes sense. Makes sense. Right. Okay. Good question. Good question. Yeah. So basically, input is my string s. Okay, and the number of rows also I have to define. Right. Cool. And the output is zigzag print. Okay. So that's what I have to do. That's fine. And the constraints is basically what? So this is again fine. S consists of English letters only, so that's fine. And that these are fine. Okay, so flow. Again, here guys, what exactly you can think of? See again, here somehow I have to make sure that the number of rows are actually being used, right? So the number of rows is very important for me. So based on the number of rows, I'll be defining the cycle. I'll be defining how exactly I have to convert the diagonals of my characters, right? So for the remaining characters. Uh, uh, okay, so let's look at that. So what we can do, let's try to write out some of the flows here. Interesting question actually. Okay, so I can think of very basic thing again. So I have to somehow iterate. Iterate is very important. So iterate over my characters. I have to do that anyway, right? And then again, iterate over my characters. I'll be doing. For that, before that, I have to identify my number of rows. So identify the number of rows. Okay, and in fact, I have to first iterate over my rows, right? So iterate over my rows, and then post that iterate over my characters of my rows. That will make more sense to me, right? So first I'll be iterating over my rows, and then I'll be iterating over my each of my elemental parts. So here in this case again, what I'm thinking of is I have to also define how many cycles I would be running in this case, right? So if my number of rows, what would be that logic? So I have to find out that. So here is this. So basically, if my number rows is 3, right? So that's how it's gonna come. So here it would be 1, 2, 3, and 4, right? So that's how it'll come. Cool. So basically, this is my input, right? So every time this will be my input, correct? PayPal is hiring. So I have to write the code, right? So input will be this every time. So so I can do that. So this will be my 4 cycles basically. Okay, and this if the number of rows is say 4, so in this case I'll be like 1, 1, 2, and 3, right? So cannot do that. How can I do? How can we do that? Okay, चलो ठीक है. Let's start coding. अभी फ्लो पे ना फंसते चले जाएंगे हम, अदरवाइज. एंड देन यहाँ पे बेसिकली हमारा लॉजिक है, लॉजिक टू आइडेंटिफाई. ठीक है, चलो लेट्स मेक सम मिस्टेक्स एंड देन लेट्स ट्राई टू डू दैट. ठीक है, चलो आई एम गोना कॉपी दिस एंटायर थिंग हियर, स्टिक टू द बेसिक्स एंड देन लेट्स डू दैट. Right. Adnan says we know that all characters divisible by number of rows will be in the first row. Yeah, absolutely correct. Yes, that'll be my logic. So yes, so that'll go here for sure. Yeah, absolutely correct. So let's do that. No? So again, in the while I'm solving this problem, if you guys are finding out any other logic to be true, do let me know. So I'm still trying to figure out how we can solve that, but it looks good to me. So let's solve that. So basically हमारे पास सबसे पहले क्या है, नंबर ऑफ रोज है, राइट. सो इफ नंबर ऑफ रोज, अगर मैं नंबर ऑफ वन मैंने दिया, सो वन में क्या है, वन में तो एज इट इज दे देगा इसको, राइट. सो नंबर ऑफ रोज वन, सो बेसिकली इसको एज इट इज रिटर्न कर देना चाहिए, राइट. सो ये इतना तमाशा तब है जब नंबर ऑफ रोज वन से ज्यादा है, करेक्ट. सिंपल एक कंडीशन लिख देते हैं, इफ नम रोज इज इक्वल टू वन, राइट. भैया यहाँ पे ना आप चुपचाप से इसको रिटर्न कर दो, रिटर्न एस. ओके, रिटर्न एस. कूल. अब यहाँ पे हमारा तमाशा स्टार्ट होगा, एल्स. सो बेसिकली फर्स्ट पार्ट में तो हमें कोई दिक्कत नहीं था, ठीक है. अब यहाँ पे अब हम क्या कर सकते हैं, अब हमें क्या करना होगा इंडिविजुअल. एल्स पे नहीं करते हैं, चलो इसको यहाँ पे तो रिटर्न हो जाएगा. अब स्टार्ट करते हैं. अब हम एस है मेरे पास, तो एस में से हम क्या करते हैं, सबसे पहले चलो नंबर ऑफ कैरेक्टर्स निकाल लेते हैं, ठीक है. सो एन डिफाइन कर लेते हैं, एन वुड बी माई लेंथ ऑफ एस, ठीक है. सो आई हैव माई लेंथ ऑफ एस हियर. सो अब इस लेंथ ऑफ एस पे बेसिकली हमने आइट्रेट करना है इंडिविजुअल कैरेक्टर्स पे, ठीक है. और एक काम करते हैं, हमें बेसिकली सीक्वेंस बनाना है, राइट. सो सीक्वेंस बनाना है. अल्टीमेटली आउटपुट क्या है, बेसिकली सीक्वेंस है मेरा आउटपुट, राइट. सो सीक्वेंस के लिए अगेन वी कैन इनिशिएट, है ना. सो हम इनिशिएट भी कर सकते हैं. सो हम इनिशिएट स्ट्रिंग हियर. सो थोड़ा ट्रिकी लग रहा है यार अदनान, मुझे भी थोड़ा सा अभी ना, आई एम जस्ट नॉट एबल टू गेट द राइट लॉजिक हियर, बट ठीक है, चलो लेट्स सॉल्व दिस एंड देन लेट्स सी. सो अगेन आई एम स्टिकिंग टू द बेसिक्स अगेन. सो स्ट्रिंग, अल्टीमेटली हमें स्ट्रिंग चाहिए ना आउटपुट में, तो हम एक स्ट्रिंग डिफाइन कर लेते हैं. इनफैक्ट आप देखो दो तरीका होता है. अब या तो स्ट्रिंग कर लो, या तो स्ट्रिंग को एक लिस्ट में कर लो, बाद में उसको यार ऐसे कर लेना, डॉट ज्वाइन कर लेना, ये भी कर सकते हैं ना, डॉट ज्वाइन स्ट्रिंग, ये भी कर सकते हैं. सो एनीथिंग इज फाइन, जैसे आपको समझ में आया. बट आई थिंक इसमें ना हमें थोड़ा लिस्ट पे काम करना होगा. सो बिकॉज लिस्ट पे ना पेंडिंग थोड़ा इजी होता है एक्चुअली. सो लेट्स डू दैट. इनफैक्ट इंस्टेड ऑफ इनिशिएटिंग अ स्ट्रिंग, सो लेट्स इनिशिएट अ लिस्ट. ओके, स्ट्रिंग एज अ लिस्ट, एंड देन लास्ट में उसको हम अपेंड करके ज्वाइन कर लेंगे, ठीक है. सो अब मेरे पास स्ट्रिंग मैंने इनिशिएट कर दिया. अब हमें कैसे कैसे करना होगा. सो बेसिकली ये लॉजिक हम कैसे लेकर के आए यार. सो नंबर ऑफ रोज है मेरे पास. सो नंबर ऑफ रोज, सो नंबर ऑफ रोज, यार I have to find out my cycle sequences basically here. So that has to be some logic for that. So अभी क्या है यार, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 basically, right. So that is not going to work like this. So here is like 1 and then number of rows is this a. So number of rows is 1, so my output will be, okay, no, my input is also changing, yeah. Okay, so my input is also changing. I cannot just keep the input same. Okay, so the input is also changing. Cool. Okay, so what can we do? चलो ठीक है, एक काम करते हैं, अभी हम आइट्रेट करते हैं. सो for I in basically the range of my number of rows. Okay, so for each of my rows, that's gonna be my first plan, right? So for each of my rows, I'm gonna iterate for j in my values basically. So the range in what should I give? So basically that should be I. Starting would be I, the rows, and the n. Okay, and what would be my step size here? Step size, this is what I have to find out, right? So step size I have to find out. There has to be again a logic for this. Somewhere it's mentioned, no. I have to define basically a step for me. Okay, so the step has to be something. What can I do here? So the number of rows. So basically, if the number of rows is say 3, for instance, right? So 3. So so the number of rows is 3. So how many times I'm going around here? So it'll be like okay. So here is 3. So uh, 3 to the 6, 4 basically, right? So uh, I'm not building up the actual matrix because yeah, we can actually do that approach also. We can do that approach also if that. But again, I'm thinking of, like, even if I build up the matrix, right? So there'll be my missing values. Again, I have to remove the counters for those missing elements from the matrix. I have to find out some step. Okay, so let's do that. Let's do that. So let's take. Okay, so what is my number of rows? So number of rows basically. So the number of rows, but do it by 2. So number of rows divided by 2. So that'll be my 3 cross 2 6, right? And then okay, so let's take some iterations here. So let me do that. So just a minute. Okay, so if my the row is 3, right? So it'll be like 3 cross 2 6, right? And then if I have the row step as row as 4, so it'll be like 8, right? But again, so I have to keep a check on this, right? So this has to be 8 can be converted into what? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, right? Okay, so this can be, it has to be 6 actually, and this has to be 4, right? Yeah. So can we write a number of rows cross 2 minus 2? Number of rows cross 2 minus 2, we can do that. Let's try that. Let's try that. Okay, so I'm gonna keep this for now. Okay, and then I'm gonna just use the step here. Okay, and then for all of these cycles basically, so I'm gonna what I'm gonna do. So basically in this string, okay, I'm gonna string dot append. I'm gonna append my each of my individual jth element of my string, right? So I'm gonna append string of j. Cool, yeah, that's fine. So I'm gonna finding out my j from the steps, and then I'm gonna append my individual characters on top of my strings. Okay, so that's fine. And then I'm gonna do if here in this case. So now here my logic would be what? So if I the number of rows minus 1, right? So if I is actually not equal to my number of rows minus 1 basically, right? Also if I is not equal to 0 for sure, right? And ये थोड़ा सा ट्रिकी है, ठीक है? सो अभी थोड़ा सा लॉजिक समझते हैं. सो बेसिकली मेरे को zigzag में लेकर के जाना है, राइट? सो द सेकेंड एलिमेंट ऑफ माई जे, सो माई स्टेप साइज का right. So basically here, so if I is not equal to basically my what? So number of rows minus 1, right? And if I is yeah, not equal to 0 for sure, right? And here in this case I have to say for j would be what? So j would be my step size. So j plus step, yeah, so j plus step I think minus of I, right? So that should be the one. if this is equal to my length, so now if this is less than n basically, right? So if all of these are true, then in that case I'm gonna append. So I'm gonna append my string dot append my individual s character, where my string would be j plus step and then minus of cool, yeah. And then in this case, this if this is gone, so if this makes sense, then what I'm going to do, I'm going to just simply append. So now I have my string here. So now for all of my strings are gone, so I'm going to just for this string, so I'm going to just do say new underscore string would be my dot join my str ing and then return return what's return new underscore string. थोड़ा मैं भी डाउटफुल हूँ, एक बार चेक करते हैं कोड को. मैं थोड़ा सा डाउटफुल हूँ इसको लेकर के ये आएगा कि नहीं. Let's run this first and then let's see if this is good, then we can look for some modification on this. Okay, so थोड़ा सा मिस्टेक है. क्या है इसमें? पेपल इज हायरिंग है मेरा, तो इसमें क्या कर दिया उसने? ओके, सो आउटपुट एक्सपेक्टेड इज PAH तो आया मेरा, एंड देन PHNAPL आया मेरा AALP. क्या कर दिया इसने? PAH एंड देन A. ओके, PAH, राइट, फेयर इनफ. सो PAY आएगा यहाँ पे एंड देन PAY this A of H. Okay. Okay, right. I got it. So basically here, if I do it like this, so PAY and then it should be PALI, right? So here it is actually not taking this, so PAHN, right? So PAHN is fine. So basically zigzag में problem हो रही है उसको, है ना? So I'm not identifying the right character. क्या mistake किया है मैंने? Step size n-1 and 0. ith character. Okay. This should be a string of j, right? So this is fine. Anybody is able to understand and able to guess क्या issue है इसमें? I think मुझे ऐसा लग रहा है कि if I'm taking the step multiplication as 2, right? So this ideally should be 2 cross of I, right? And then also here it should be 2 cross I. This is one thing which I'm looking for as an update. Anybody has any other solution to this? I think ये थोड़ा सा complicate हो गया. I think let's look at for some other approach maybe. I think this should work. I think इसमें मुझे कोई issue नहीं दिख रहा है. चलो करते हैं एक बार, नहीं तो फिर नया approach try करेंगे. चलो कोई problem नहीं. Let's run this. But मैं भी थोड़ा सा doubtful ही हूँ इसको लेकर के. Okay, good. Okay, so this is fine. So basically this has been accepted. So 2 as my step size and I'm multiplying by 2. Okay, fair enough. So this is making sense. But again, maybe we can try for some other approach. I think थोड़ा सा ये जो है ना complicate हो गया ये query. Okay, so although this is good, but I think I'm not very satisfied with this approach. Okay, so let's park this for now. Okay, इसको अभी पार्क करते हैं. Let's try to run this again and then see, है ना. एक बार इसको वापस ओपन करते हैं, वरना मेरे को ओपन नहीं करने देगा. चलो ठीक है. एनीवे यहीं पर वापस से एक बार वापस से कोड करते हैं. चलो, आई थिंक ऑल्दो दिस इज एक्सेप्टेड, बट लॉजिक मेरे को बहुत कन्विंसिंग नहीं लग रहा है. सो अभी थोड़ा सा सिंपल वे में सॉल्व करते हैं इसको, है ना. थोड़ा सा सिंपल वे में इसको सॉल्व करते हैं. एंड लेट मी नो इफ दैट एक्चुअली मेक सेंस टू यू. चलो अभी देखो सिंपल सिंपल क्या है. अभी हमारा सबसे पहले तो एक ये तो है, ये फंडा, इसमें कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है. सो इफ नंबर ऑफ रोज इज इक्वल टू 1, इन दिस केस आई एम गोना रिटर्न. ठीक है, इसमें कोई इशू नहीं है. एंड नाउ इन दिस केस अब हम क्या कर सकते हैं गाइस. अभी सबसे पहले हमें क्या करना है, हमें पहले नंबर ऑफ रोज को आइडेंटिफाई करना है, राइट. सो आई हैव माय नंबर ऑफ रोज फॉर ईच ऑफ दिस केस, राइट. So what can I do? So first I'm gonna fill up a random data. Okay, so I'm just gonna initiate. I'm just gonna use the Adnan's approach. Okay, so Adnan said to create the actual matrix. Let's do that. Actually, I think his approach is actually right. Let's do that. So I'm gonna write. I'm gonna create the sparse matrix. Okay, I'm just gonna create an empty basically one. So I'm gonna initiate an empty one. So basically this for I in range of number of rows for now. Okay, so I'm gonna do it. So number of rows, let's do that. So I've just initiated my rows value. So rows में क्या है मेरे पास, I have just initiated my rows here, right. So what और क्या क्या कर सकते हैं यार. So हमारे पास और क्या यार, अभी एक मेरे पास रोज है. सो रोज को भी इनिशिएट कर देता हूँ मैं 0 पे, फॉर एग्जांपल. रो को नहीं, रोज को इनिशिएट कर देता हूँ. So for each of my rows, I'm going to fill up the value. So basically, I'm starting with 0. So again, guys, so I'm just initiating with 0. I can still iterate it over the loop. So I'm initiating with the 0. And also, I'm going to define, okay, let's start. Let's start with the approach. So now, I think I have to define something else, but let's start. So for I in range of, so basically my length of S. Okay, so basically each of my characters, right. So in this case my row value, so row of my row here, I'm gonna keep on appending my S of I. Cool, इसमें किसी को कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है. So basically I'm just keep on adding, filling up the values. Initiated 0 है ना. So अभी फर्स्ट कैरेक्टर ऑफ माई रोज जो है मैं S of I से फिल करता चला जाऊँ. लॉजिक यही है ना, हमें फर्स्ट करेक्टर को फिल करते चले जाना है. ठीक है. सो अभी मैं सिंपल अभी मैट्रिक्स बना रहा हूँ. एक्चुअली मैं मैट्रिक्स बना रहा हूँ. ठीक है. सो अभी एस ऑफ आई से मैंने फिल कर दिया. अब इस केस में क्या है, नाउ इफ रो इज इक्वल टू 0, राइट, और if row is equal to 0 or row is equal to number of rows minus 1. ठीक है. So or if number of rows minus 1, in this case I'm gonna say that row again. So I think I should be initiating a step again here. Step would be -1 in this case. So this initiating is a -1, basically the direction of my readout. Okay, so in this case what I'm going to do is the step would be first. If this is true, the step will be multiplied by -1. So this will become plus, right? So basically I have to again add in this case, or don't add. Okay, yeah, so I can do that. So here, and again row would be what? So if this is true, if this is true, this is fine. And then in this case, for each of my iterator, I have to just keep on appending the row value, which will be like row plus equal to my step. Cool. So step is -1. Cool. So I'm just gonna keep on decreasing my row value. So that is fine. So I have my row plus is equal to my step. So and then a step I've already multiplied here with -1. So that is fine. So this is making sense. So anybody has any issue in this logic? This is very simple logic. I've just try to create the matrix actually from the same part. Okay, so now if that is done, if actually that is done, right? So now what can I do? So I have my rows. So basically now in this case, the rows data would be having so rows will be my actual matrix, right? So at the end, I'll be having a matrix called as rows basically, right? So rows मेरे पास matrix होगा जहाँ पे मेरे पास सारा data है. So this is where the data would be, right? So now how can I join the elements of my sparse matrix? Because in this case, what can I do? Again, the same logic would work, I guess, right? So I can just do return of same logic. So dot join rows. I think they should work, right? I don't know why I just complicated that solution. I think this looks good to me. Let's try to run this. Yeah, so it's actually a simple question only. I don't know why I just complicated that solution. I think let's try to run this. This also looks good to me. Okay, क्या problem हो गया यार? Invalid syntax. Why? क्या कर दिया मैंने? For I in क्या कर दिया मैंने भाई? For okay, my bad. For I in yeah, absolutely great. Yeah, thank you so much, Adnan. Again, it was actually right. So I don't know why I just complicated that logic earlier. It is actually a very simpler approach. Okay. So I just created the matrix like the way Adnan suggested, the way the logic also mentions, right? So first fill up the rows, the first characters, first columns, and then keep on creating the zigzag fashion. So where my logic comes, right? Cool. Because this is where I'm gonna decrement. So basically I have to go in the reverse order, right? And then start, then go in the reverse order, then start likewise. Great, guys. Any question in understanding the logic here? So we actually solved it with two approaches here. So the first one was using the traditional approach. The second here in this one is more easier. I actually created the matrix where I had the strings in the way it is expected, and then I just join the characters to form a word basically based on my rows, right? So any question, any problem in understanding the logic, guys? Just a quick yes or no in the chat would be really good, guys. So I hope I'm making sense. If things are fine, just a thumbs up would be good. Submitting. Okay, what will happen if I just submit it? Yeah, it is accepted. So memory usage is 14.5 MB, less than 26%. Okay, this is actually a better solution here, actually, yeah. Because I think that the earlier one was bit lengthy, so going multiple loops and multiple and all that, so that was not needed actually, right? So I think this one is actually a better approach. So again, as I said, so no approach is wrong, right? So we had two different approaches for the same problem, right? So again, it's more like how you think of the problem. It's not basically, so none of the approaches are fine. So even the earlier approach where I ran the code, it gave me the answer. That approach was also right, but I believe this is much of a better approach, right? So we can only compare two approaches. So I won't say that the other approach was wrong or this one is right. It's more like comparative things, right? So again, it says because using lesser memory, more faster and all that. See again how it is comparing. So the runtime and the memory usage. So basically, it's also comparing the optimization parts, right? So optimization is actually more of, I would say, irrelevant in terms of competitive programming, to be honest. Okay, so don't really get confused by that for now. So always try to first submit the results. You know? But again, Adnan, yeah, thank you so much. Again, I think your approach was actually good. So I think we actually solved it in a much easier way than the previous approach, right? Great. Shall we do one more question, or shall we meet tomorrow? I think we have only 1.5 hours down the line. If people are okay, we can take one more question maybe, or we can just solve the questions tomorrow. I'm okay either ways. Right. So just suggest, and meanwhile, guys, do let me know if any question in understanding logic. So again, I'm still saying the same thing. No approach is wrong. Okay. So no approach is wrong if you're able to get the right answers. So that is something which is expected, right? So do not worry about the approach and all. So if you're able to get the right answers, this is fine. Yeah, I mean, yes. So, but with more practice, you can actually start. You will actually start thinking in a better way. So your optimization will come with time, right? So basically, your approach will become better and better every day. So, but again, so try to solve the problems first. Okay, so then think of optimization. So that is something which is a major problem I have been seeing in people these days. So they try to write very smart code on day one. So that's where the things fall haywire, right? So uh, I mean, that's my suggestion. But again, cool. Great, guys. So please suggest, shall we do one more question, or shall we just skip it over tomorrow? I would say let's do it tomorrow. So anything, we are anyway 1.5 hour down the line today. So I think that's fine for now. So maybe we can solve 2 3 more questions tomorrow, right? So we can keep the other questions for tomorrow. Let's do that. Right, so let's meet tomorrow, guys. Same time, 10 p.m. We're gonna do more questions on Python. And but again, the questions are very, very, very standard here in Leetcode. You can see that, right? So, and trust me, these are very standard questions. So, and you can expect it in any of your competitive programs. So even in your interviews, right? So you can always say that. To be honest, I believe it's more because it's more of a tricky question and does not really make sense logically, Ayush. I mean, that's what I can think of. The downvotes are for. But again, yeah, I mean, it's okay. So do not go with those tags, to be honest. It's more of a difficult question to understand at first instance. Even I got confused in the start, right? So maybe that could be one of the potential reasons. But again, don't go by those votes. So it's pretty biased, right? So be neutral in these websites. Okay, so do not go with the trend. So be neutral and try to, because, and look forward to your objective. Your objective is to practice the questions from these websites. Okay, so that's your objective. So be neutral and just keep solving the problem. Great. So again, thank you so much, guys, for being such a lovely audience today, and we had some good gathering, and we had some good suggestion. Thank you so much, everyone, and let's see each other tomorrow again, the same time, 10 p.m., and let's start solving the other set of problems, and we will be seeing some other good problems tomorrow as well. Great. So with this, I'm gonna leave you with your evening back. So happy learning, and again, and happy New Year to everyone. And see you tomorrow, the same time, 10 p.m. with other set of questions for the Leetcode itself. Thank you so much, guys. Bye bye.